What is going on, everybody? It's Alex back with another video, and today I want to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. Honestly, I have never had a game play with my emotions so much. I mean, when this game first came out, obviously the online features weren't included in the game. It was just a single player game. And honestly, I think it's the best single player game that I have played in at least the past few years. I thought everything was amazing about it. The graphics were great, even on a base Xbox One. The voice acting was great. The characters were so relatable. Like, everything just felt really immersive, and I felt like a cowboy. I felt like all of my decisions mattered. I had emotions towards these other characters. If someone betrayed me, I legitimately felt betrayed. These are the feelings that I want to feel when I'm playing an immersive single player campaign. I have absolutely nothing bad to say about the single player experience, but unfortunately that's not really what I have to say about the entire game. Although the single player experience is incredibly important, it's pretty much the initial impressions, and then you move on to what actually matters in the long term, and that's of course the online. The whole point of the single player is to be able to fully be immersed in the game and really get a feel for it before you can actually move on to the better experiences, which would be the online. There's a reason why they don't release them simultaneously. If you aren't aware, when GTA 5 came out, they actually did the same thing, released the campaign and then allowed the multiplayer to be released a little bit later. This is because the single player is incredibly expensive, and they know that if there's an online feature, a lot of players aren't really going to appreciate it. So if they wait on the online release, then pretty much everybody will go ahead, get the game, completely play through the single player campaign, and then move on to the multiplayer once that is released. This worked out amazing for GTA. Yes, the online was kind of broken at the beginning, but over time they did end up bringing it up. At this point, GTA 5 has been out for 6 years, and every single month it is on the list of top selling games, and they are still bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars a year just from online features. Needless to say, they wanted to recreate this as much as they possibly could with Red Dead 2. Even though so many people were hyped and excited for Red Dead 2, I think pretty much everyone knew that it would never be quite as big as Grand Theft Auto. Just the idea of being a cowboy can't really market to as many people as Grand Theft Auto would. But at the same time, I think everyone kind of had faith in Rockstar that they would be able to release a really solid product, which is exactly what I felt when I started playing the single player campaign. I was completely immersed and fell in love. Even though I was very skeptical that they were going to be able to make a really immersive online game that actually lasted for a long time, I believed in them. I put my faith in Rockstar that they would be able to do it. I kept thinking about it and brainstorming, trying to figure out what they could do to make this online last so long, and I couldn't really figure anything out. But once again, I figured, you know, there's a reason why I'm not getting paid for this. There's professionals that basically try to make a game that people will play forever, and they've been very successful about it. Surely they will be able to do it. Unfortunately, I guess I put faith where I shouldn't have, and I was proved very wrong. Red Dead Online has been a complete disaster since day one. I have never seen a game be so good in certain aspects and then so bad in the other. I mean, Red Dead 2 got so many awards throughout the year. I mean, it was such an amazing game, and then you get in the online and you just wonder, why is this even a thing? So Red Dead Online released in beta. Initially, I thought this was a really good thing. If you don't know, games that are fully released basically have to go through all of these checklists and everything to release any kind of update or patch or anything. There's just so many barriers to release content out to the public. Well, if a game is in beta, they don't have to do this. This is exactly how Fortnite gets out weekly updates and almost immediate patches. I thought Red Dead Online would be using this to its advantage and actually be putting content out like crazy, keeping players immersed. Clearly, that's not exactly what they had planned. I mean, I remember playing with my friend day one, and we were trying to start up missions, and it literally wouldn't work. You would accept a mission from someone and then it wouldn't give you any waypoints or anything. You literally could not start the mission. Unfortunately, it had the mission activated, but we couldn't even quit the mission. So every time we tried to start it, it wouldn't work, and we would have to completely reset our game. So on day one, about 30 minutes into the game, me and my friend couldn't even progress any further. Honestly, I wasn't too worried about this. It's day one, it's buggy, you know, not a big deal. So basically, we got to the point where we're exploring, we're trying to figure out what to do, and we ended up just kind of giving up and switching over to another game just because we couldn't find anything to do. This is something that I never experienced in Grand Theft Auto Online. I feel like there's just a plethora of content and activities to do that you're never really going to get bored. All there really is to do in Red Dead Online is just partake in basic, you know, shoot 'em up death matches, you know, basic battle royale modes that are terrible, and then horse races. And I'm not the only one who thinks that there was nothing to do. In fact, right after the game released, basically all people found that they could do was just kill each other. This meant that griefing was a terrible problem with the game. Unfortunately, the blips on the mini-map that showed your location could be seen from anywhere in the map, so griefing was incredibly easy and it became a huge problem. Luckily, Rockstar was actually pretty quick to solve this. They ended up making the blips a proximity thing, so you actually had to be close before you could see them. Not only that, but they also introduced a bounty system to make it a lot worse for you if you were griefing. So not completely bad. At least Rockstar is listening and they're actually giving people what they want, but unfortunately there's still a lack of content. Basically all there is to do in the game is just grind, but there's nothing really to grind for. There's really no incentive to keep grinding. I feel like GTA has always given you a pretty good incentive to grind. You know, every month or so there's going to be some kind of content update where there's all these new cars, a new apartment, a new business to open. It's really exciting new content that really requires a lot of money. So you either have to spend real money or you can just grind the game out to earn money so you can achieve these things. To me, that is plenty of reason to grind. In Red Dead Online, there's really nothing worth it. On top of that, they've actually made grinding harder, presumably to push microtransactions even further. Based on hunting and fishing, it used to be fairly profitable to actually explore the world, you know, get these pelts and then sell them for a decent profit. However, they nerfed it and pissed a lot of people off. Needless to say, there's going to be plenty of content updates for Red Dead Online, but honestly, they're gonna have to do something very dramatic to be able to get any kind of share back. They've been talking about story DLC in GTA Online for a very, very long time, and that never came to fruition, but I could see that coming to Red Dead Online, and that could actually be really, really interesting. If we can get an experience that's very similar to the campaign, except you're actually playing with friends and online matchmaking, I think basically everybody would come back to the game for that. But again, with it being a story DLC, who knows how long that's actually going to keep people entertained. On top of that, I think they're going to take a trick from GTA 5 and eventually come out with a heist DLC. I'm not meaning to spoil much of the campaign for you, but a lot of it has to do with heist. So the game already has setups that are built around heist. I think it's pretty safe to say that this is going to come to online at some point. I think it's going to be a very welcomed update. But once again, doing the same 3 to 4 heists over and over again really is going to get boring very quick, especially if there's not enough in the game to actually save up for. Honestly, I think one of its biggest strengths is what actually makes it pretty weak in the online feature. The game is actually very realistic. GTA has always been somewhat realistic, however, it's definitely satirical. It makes fun of modern day society and basically allows you to do whatever you want. Although a lot of people don't like it, that's also why GTA Online has had such success over the years. They've been able to add all these crazy things like flying cars and all of these planes that you can just steal that you wouldn't normally be able to. In Red Dead Online, there's nothing really epic that you can do. Yeah, you can steal horses and carriages and guns, but there's really nothing just to the scale of GTA Online. I think the scale is the reason why it was so successful. Honestly, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 being so realistic is what made the campaign so good, but is also a big part of the problem and why the online portion is dying. And I think this is even something that they realized back in the original Red Dead Redemption, because they released something called Undead Nightmare. This was basically a zombie DLC that really made no sense based on the game, but it added somewhat of this unrealistic feature. It allowed them to be creative and kind of open people's mind to get a completely different experience in the game, and honestly, people loved it. Honestly, I think at some point we will be getting Undead Nightmare 2 brought to Red Dead Online, and it wouldn't even surprise me if we had more updates that really made it a little more unrealistic. I just don't think there's really a whole lot of room to grow with a very basic, realistic cowboy game. It's really crazy though, because it seems like when Red Dead 2 officially launched, everyone was playing it and everyone was talking about it. This was the game to have. People were playing it and everyone was so hyped for Red Dead Online, but as soon as Red Dead Online actually popped up, it seemed like the game just completely disappeared. Honestly, I was so excited to play online, but once I did, I was almost immediately let down. It really just didn't feel like this was Rockstar's baby like I thought it was. They'd been talking about it for the past 2 years, that this was their baby. Red Dead Redemption 2 was going to be the game, the service that we were going to be playing for the next few years. And honestly, I just don't know how they could have expected that releasing the product that they did. And honestly, it makes me so sad because there was so much potential in this game that I just don't think will ever actually be brought to light. With that being said, there could be updates in the very near future that could completely turn the game around, and I hope there is. I love Rockstar, and I would love to see this game actually be something special, but right now, in its current state, Red Dead Online is completely dead. But I'm curious what you guys have to say about this, so let me know down in the comments below. What are your experiences with Red Dead Online? How do you feel about the current game? How do you feel about the future? But that is it for the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys for the support. Peace out.
Didn't come to my birthday party. Rude, but they all found time to go fight the warrior. Like, this would be like some